Vertex BD version 31 for wood framing now includes automatic hangers for floor and ceiling framing. Assign the default hanger for a floor or ceiling structure in the Framing tool. To access the Framing tool for a floor component, select the System tab and Libraries. An important note: changes to libraries must be made under Custom Libraries. Changes to system libraries are not allowed. Any changes made to the system libraries will not be saved. Under Libraries in the browser, select Custom Libraries, Framing Tools, Frame Tools, and the Floor Structures Custom Library. For this demonstration, I will select the 2x10 floor framing. The code for this structure is FLR 2x10. To open the Framing Tool properties, double-click on the Framing tool or right-click and select Properties from the menu. The Framing Area Assembly window opens. Framing settings, including details, framing defaults, and insulation, can be modified in this window. Select the Frame Details tab. Assign the default hanger for this floor structure in the Default Hanger Code field. Select the SEL button to the right of the field. Use the Clear button to clear the default hanger. If no hangers assigned, the user must insert hangers manually. Hanger model U210 is the default hanger. To change the hanger, click on the SEL button. The joist hanger window displays the properties of the default hanger. Information such as the hanger library, the hanger code, the header, and joist nailing requirements, as well as web stiffener information. Click the Select button to choose a hanger library from which to select a hanger. Select a default hanger to apply to the 2x10 floor framing. I will leave the U210 hanger as the default and cancel out of this window and close the browser. I will demonstrate the automatic hangers feature by framing a small floor section and adding a flush beam. I will select the floor area and then choose the Lines tool from the Framing Fields drop-down menu. Next, I will right-click and choose Add Cut Line to add a flush beam. I'll add the beam in the middle of the floor. In the Framing Detail window, change the detail from cut line with blocking to a flush beam detail. In addition to the cut line detail with or without blocking, there are details for adding a flush top or a flush bottom for selectable single or multi-ply beams. I will select the cut line for the 2-ply selectable flush bottom beams for this demonstration. Select the Parameters button to open the piece and hanger selection window. This window displays information about the flush pieces and hangers. The 2-ply flush beams are 2x10 profiles from the lumber library. The materials are SPF number 2 with a width of 1.5 inches. To change the pieces, click the Select button to switch the flush beam to a different profile, material, or grade. I will leave the beams as flush 2x10s. To automatically add hangers, confirm that the Add Joist Hangers box is checked. To use the default hangers assigned in the Framing tool, this box must be checked. The U210 is the default hanger assigned in the 2x10 Framing tool. If the box is not checked, the alternate hanger shown below will replace the default hanger. The HU210 hanger is the alternate hanger. To change the alternate hanger, click on the Select button to choose a different hanger. Information such as the hanger code and nailing requirements is displayed for the alternate hanger. There is a checkbox for indicating if hangers are shipped loose. This information will be included in the reports. There are also checkboxes for adding web stiffeners to joist ends and passing pieces. The length can be assigned for each type of stiffener. I will automatically add the default hangers assigned in the Framing tool and leave all other settings unchanged. Select OK, and select OK in the Framing detail to add the flush beam. Select the V key or right-click and select OK to confirm we are done. I'm going to add another beam, but this time we will have Vertex BD apply the alternate hanger to the second flush beam. I will add a new cut line near the upper edge of the floor framing. For the cut detail, I will select the single selectable flush top beam. Select Parameters. I will uncheck the box for Use Default Hanger from the Framing tool. This will apply the alternate hanger HU210 instead of the default U210 hanger assigned in the Framing tool. I will change the single 2x10 flush beam to a 4x16 beam. I will leave the grade as is. Select OK, and select OK in the framing detail to add the second flush beam. Right-click and select Generate Parts to add the floor framing. Select the Escape key or right-click and select Exit to end the command. Hangers have been automatically added to each of the flush beams. Double-click on the hanger to view its properties. The hangers applied to the 2-ply members are the default U210 hangers. The hangers applied to the single 4x16 member are the alternate HU210 hangers. In the 3D view, you can see the flush members and the hangers that have been applied. Notice how the 4x16 flush top member extends down below the floor framing. If this member were used as a flush bottom, the top of the 4x16 member would protrude through the top of the floor. Automatically add hangers to the edges of the floor framing by editing the edge detail. To add hangers to the edges, select the floor area. Select Edges in the Framing Tools menu. Red triangles appear at all the edges of the floor area. Select a triangle at one of the header pieces. Right-click and select Properties. The Framing Detail dialog displays the current edge detail. The edge has the detail header assigned. This detail applies a single header piece that takes on the default framing profile. In this example, the header piece is a 2x10 profile. If the user wants to maintain the default header profile but requires hangers, click the Parameters button to add hangers to the edge detail. In the Joist Hangers window, select the Add Joist Hanger box to add hangers to the edge framing automatically. Designers can choose to use the default hanger assigned in the Framing tool or uncheck Use Default Hanger from Framing tool to use the alternate hanger shown below. I'll check the box for both Add Joist Hangers and Use Default Hanger from Framing tool. Select OK and select OK in the framing detail to add the hangers. Designers can change the header piece to a selectable piece. Designers can also change the piece from a single piece to a multi-ply member. I will change the edge detail for the other edge of the framing. There are numerous edge details to choose from. The default edge detail is the default header single piece. You can also assign double and triple default headers. Instead of the default 2x10 header, I will assign the selectable header for a double or 2-ply member. This detail will allow me to change the header profile to a different size and material. Select Parameters. I will change the header piece to a different profile. Click on the Select button to the right of the code field. I will select the LVL library in the Library drop-down field. For code, I will apply the 1 3/4 by 9.5 LVL profile. Select OK to assign the profile. In the Piece and Hanger selection window, check the box to Add Joist Hangers and uncheck the box to use the default hanger from the Framing tool. I want the alternate HU210 hanger. Select OK and select OK in the framing detail to add the hangers. Select the Escape key or right-click and select Exit to end the command. The LVL headers are added to the floor framing. Double-click on the hangers to open the hanger properties. The HU210 hangers are applied to the edge detail. Switch to 3D to view the framing. Adding hangers to skewed profiles or edges is a similar process. Select the floor area, and then select Edges in the Framing Tools menu. Next, select a skewed edge and right-click. Select Properties from the menu. The default detail is set to the End detail. This is a skewed end single header detail. The detail applies the default framing profile for the skewed header. In this example, it would add a 2x10 member. I will change the detail to the default skewed end for a double member and add hangers. Select User Detail to select a different detail. Select the Description drop-down menu. Here, you will find additional details, such as selectable skewed end details. This allows the user to select the skewed end member profiles. I will apply the default skewed end for a double member. To add hangers, choose the Parameters button. In the Joist Hangers window, check the box for Add Joist Hangers. One key difference between adding hangers for perpendicular framing versus skewed framing is that for skewed framing, the Use Default Hanger from Framing Tool checkbox must be unchecked. If you recall, the U210 hanger is the assigned default hanger for 2x10 floor framing. That hanger is not for use in a skewed application. By leaving the Use Default Hanger from Framing Tool checkbox unchecked, Vertex uses the alternate hanger SUR or SUL 210 listed below in the window. To assign a different skewed hanger, click the Select button next to the Library field and select a hanger from another library. I will use the assigned alternate hanger. Select OK to close each of the windows. I will change the detail for the other skewed end. And assign the selectable skewed end single member detail. I'll select parameters and change the end profile to a 1 3/4 by 9.5 inch LVL member. I will check the Add Joist Hanger box to add hangers and leave the Use Default Hanger from Framing Tool unchecked to apply the alternate hanger. Generate the framing by selecting the floor area, right-clicking, and then selecting Generate Parts. If I zoom in on the lower skewed end, you will see the double 2x10 skewed end has been added along with the skewed hangers. If I zoom in on the other skewed end, you can see the end profile is an LVL member with skewed hangers. This concludes the hanger and column cap demonstration. View our other online videos to learn more about the additional features available in Vertex BD.